Trying to stick my finger in the lube. Lube up the shaft. Don't be shy now. Get it right in there. Don't forget to stick some in the hole too. Good morning YouTube and the internet. After getting the drive shaft off the 300Z finally, after wrestling with the exhaust for several hours, which you will have seen, hopefully, I'm up to getting the bearing off the shaft. So this is our center bearing. You shouldn't do that. You can see here it's completely separated. So we've got to pull this one out. Now what we've got, this nut with a folded side, we've got to get that off. So just get a punch in there. Hopefully without breaking the punch. Tap this out. Alright, so this is a 27mm. It's going to be very tight. Try to not crush this in the vise. Rattle gun. Yeah, boy. So there's a nut. Now this flange has got to come off. I don't know if I need the puller for that. I'll just try and release it with a hammer. First. No, I'll just go straight to the puller. Why not? I've got it. Yeah, she's coming. So flange, and now let's check these two against each other. Here's the new bearing. We can at least check the housings are the same. They appear to be. Same diameter. Safely say these are the same based on that inspection. So we're good to go with the new bearing, and now we're going to get the old one off. It may be easier said than done, because half of this bearing is still on here. And I think it's going to be a lot easier if the rubber tore off this side. But I can't get it off because it's all torn off on that side. So it's still attached. I'll see if I can pry it away so I can get clean access to the bearing, or cut it off even. The other option is I may have to burn it off. But for the time being, let's get a scalp, let's get a Stanley knife and just try and remove as much of it as I can. Yeah, so the back side of that. So you come here. Alright, so this is the way the bearing's sitting on there. And on the back side of here is a flat face. And I need to be able to get the puller on that. That's under the rubber at the moment, I think. So if I cut this rubber off, I should be able to get onto that. Hopefully. See if we can get it to bite onto something solid. Fly off and hit me in the face. Yeah, well, to cut some more away. I may end up having to just burn it, to burn all the rubber off, and then I should then be able to get to the metal only. Sort of. So what I've done, unsuccessfully, but I can fix it, is I've just cut the rubber out in a big chunk here. 3 places for the puller to grab onto the bearing here, because it is metal, just here. So if the puller can grab on the underside of that, it should work. The only thing I have to do now is just clear them a bit more and make sure they're in the right places for the puller to be able to land on them. So that one there lines up with that one there, but this one doesn't, so let's mark that. Let's not even mark it, let's just to the top and cut some more out over here and we should be good. Before we pull this off, let's make life easier for ourselves. Lube it up. It'll also help clean the shaft. Alright, it's taken a bit of effort. I've had to clean these up quite well to get the teeth to bite, to get the claw to bite. But seems I've got them engaged pretty well now. Let's see how we go. That's going to slip up there. Release it before it does. Should be hard against steel there, because that's where the bearing is. It seems to be on the piss all the time. I do it by hand. Feel like I'm sure it's engaged. That's why I don't do it by hand, because it spins. You idiot. I'm getting close to getting a blowtorch out and just burning this rubber off. Alright, so I've removed enough rubber for the jaws to get onto steel, well, at least I hope. This is harder steel, I can't cut it, so here's hoping this will do the job. It's coming. There's a washer. Oh, there's a bearing. And there's a copper washer in here, so let's recover that. And our cactus bearing. Now we've got to clean up in here. So we really do need to clean this up, because we don't want dirt in the bearing, getting in the bearing, or getting in the grease. This will all be packed with grease as well. So to get down in here, if you got brake coolant, brake solvent, brake cleaner, if you got brake cleaner in a aerosol can, it's much easier. I don't, so it's the old rag on a screwdriver trick. Try and clean this out with the solvent I've got. It's doing the job, it's just a bit more tedious. You spray brake cleaner in there, it's just going to flush out. So here we are, all clean and shit. And a new bearing goes on the same way the other one came off. So it slips on this shaft right here. If you have trouble and you've got a big enough freezer, you can put the whole drive shaft in the freezer. It'll shrink the shaft enough for you to slip it over, but just a bit of lubrication should do the trick. It's just penner up bearing grease. So it's good stuff. I like it. I don't want to dip my finger in it though. Trying to stick my finger in the lube. Lube up the shaft. Don't be shy now. Get it right in there. Don't forget to stick some in the hole too. Yeah. See if we can slip this into position. I've got a few, oh, hang on. Copper washer, that was there. Lube everywhere, lube, lube, lube and more lube. Let's slip that on. Yep, positively engaged. Now if you're replacing your nut, which you should do on certain models, I don't know about this one, but I'm just going to get it in there because I need it done. If you are replacing the nut, I still recommend pulling the bearing on using the old nut and then using the new nut to so use the old nut to pull the whole assembly in, take it off, put the new nut on to torque it down. I don't have a new nut handy. I might be able to go and get one today. But first I need to get the assembly on. So if you look here, you'll see the whole assembly moving down the shaft. Let's it'll stop there. Now this is a set torque to go to, but it's quite a lot, so I'm pretty confident we're doing that. And if we have a look over here, we'll see that the little part that you fold into the slot is lined up with the slot where it used to be. I'll see how hard it is to get a new nut. Right now I'll head up to Repco and see if they've got one, because I forgot about that. I might have time to get it now that the shaft is repaired. It's just a simple case of slamming it back in. What I do have to do is get the snap studs out of the exhaust before I can fully assemble it as well. So we'll need some other bits and bobs to do that, like new exhaust studs. I'm hoping they're the same as these, because I'll just replace them with old exhaust studs out of the head from the RB. If I can. If I can't, then stiff shit. But this is on temporarily for the time being. Once I've put this nut on, it can go back on the car just as it came off. It's a simple job to slip it back up there, and I'll show you that when I do it. I don't know if I'll film the jobs in sequence or what I do in sequence, because I'm doing multiple tasks at the same time at the moment. Pleasantly simple job, apart from having to carve this bearing to pieces, all the rubber off it to get the teeth on my... If you had a two arm puller, it would be easier because they're a bit flatter, but got the job done anyway.